The following content is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.
You're listening to the Everyday Therapy Podcast. I'm JC Rader.
And I'm Julianne Schroeder.
And we're therapists bringing you honest conversations around emotional wellness and self-development.
Inspired by our personal experiences in therapy and because of our clients, we realize therapy has so much to offer both on and off the couch. Listen for tips and tools to navigate all the challenges that life throws your way.
To give us feedback on topics and guests, or for more information on our community events, counseling, or online services, contact us at everydaytherapypodcast.com. Hello, let's get right to it and talk about our sponsors. So Lifeology is a group private practice here in the heart of Dallas, also locations in Austin, Texas, Cedar Hill, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Where am I forgetting? Fort Worth.
They're taking over the world,
yeah,
slowly.
Yeah, and they're amazing. So many of our friends, or shall I say colleagues, or both, work there. So quality therapists. I was trained there as a therapist, so I think that they're really awesome.
She's not biased.
Great.
No,
yeah,
no.
I'm not biased at all. But they have time slots to see counselors early mornings, late evenings, and on weekends, which is incredible if you're working and it's hard for you to get in to see a therapist. They also have pricing that makes it so anybody could see a therapist, starting out at $35.
Which is a deal, folks.
Yeah, and it goes up based on your counselor's training and education and skill set and all that, of course. But we highly recommend them, and that's part of our mission here with Everyday Therapy, is to get people to have their own everyday therapy, but also to find a therapist that fits for them as well. So creative solution to stuck problems. Check out wefixbrains.com, Lifeology.
Yes, and they're so awesome. And in that same sort of mentality of being creative to help with stuck problems, they've created the Lifeology Institute for Psychotherapeutic Yoga.
Such a mouthful. You do such a great job saying it.
Thank
LISPY.
you. Yes, I love how you affirm me each time. Anyways, but it's not about me. It's about LISPY. And LISPY has created this awesome school to really merge Eastern and Western approach to healing and mental health through psychotherapeutic yoga. And they are starting another cycle of training coming up in May. So they're really looking for therapists and clinicians who are wanting to extend their reach with clients, because we know that like talk therapy sometimes has its limits because we have to address the body as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you've ever wanted to be a yoga teacher, or even just if you want that yogic information for yourself.
Deeper understanding
Yeah.
of why yoga helps you feel good from the inside out.
Yeah, and we're both graduates from their program. It's amazing. And Julian actually teaches for their psychotherapeutic yoga program. So check them out. And shall we get into our topic and meet our guests for today?
Yes, we shall.
So we have a Insta famous gal today. So we're super excited to talk to Mik Zazon.
And we're referring to her by her Instagram handle. So we don't know. Michaela, do you go like by Michaela or Mik?
I actually go by Mik. I've been called Mik my entire life.
Okay.
It's so cute. I love both. I love it. They're adorable.
Thank you.
You were recently on the Today Show. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was such a whirlwind. It happened so fast.
Were you nervous?
Oh my gosh, if they were to zoom in on my hand, it would have been terrible. I was shaking so bad.
You could not tell at all. We watched it and we were like, damn, she's
Yeah.
got it going on.
That's impressed because we were just doing some TV filming actually recently, and I got stress hives, and
She did.
I've never gotten hives in my life before. So
It's so nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I have this thing where whenever I get nervous, my whole body swells. So literally
it's a little
2 days
inconvenient.
before, I was like, okay, I just got to get ready. Like my body's going to swell. And so I tried to drink water. But yes, I was so nervous,
my
but
gosh.
they made me feel so comfortable.
Good. We sure you're just as nervous here talking with us today. No, I hope not. But so you are a social media influencer and you do such a good job about talking about body positivity. You're a health and fitness coach, and it's so rare to find a health and fitness coach that talks about your body in the way that you talk about your body. It's not, there's no body shaming. It's so positive. And you talk about mental health, like woven into that also. How did you get there?
So it should be a simple answer, right? But it's not. I had to go through hell to get where I am now. And in order for me to be able to promote the things that I do in a truthful manner, in a wholeheartedly truthful manner. So I had multiple eating disorders. I was a soccer player growing up, and I knew in the back of my head that health and wellness wasn't just what you looked like physically. And that's what a lot of people think, because on the outside, if someone has abs and a thigh gap and are lean, you're like, oh, that's healthy. I want to be like you. And you don't know the big picture. Like you don't know what they could be going through. And after my eating disorders, I was in the spotlight, and I had abs, I had a thigh gap, and everyone thought I was healthy. And it wasn't until I hit rock bottom where I was like, no, I need help. Like I am very depressed. I have anxiety. I can't move out of my bed. I need help. And I opened up about it online, and people loved it because they haven't seen it. Like they have never seen a Instagrammer, come out and say, yes, I gained 40, 50 pounds. I'm still a health coach. I'm still a personal trainer, and I coach women to be the healthiest versions of themselves. But I don't just teach them and preach to them, fitness. I preach and teach whole health. Like it doesn't just mean, work out for 30 minutes or an hour or an hour and a half. It means you literally just being healthy socially, mentally, emotionally, environmentally, like everything.
You are a prodigy. I wish all health and fitness coaches were like you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, because I will say, and thankful that, body positivity is becoming more of a trend. Thank you. I mean, a couple centuries too late, but, right. But I think there's sometimes can be like misguided and like kind of cover up body positive, right?
I see it all the time. And the thing is that I'm just throwing out a random percentage. I want to say that like over 50% of fitness Instagrammers who hashtag body positivity are just in it for the likes. They want the attention, and they want, that Me Too moment, but they're not actually having that Me Too moment because they're not being wholehearted and they're not being truthful about what's really happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I believe and subscribe to this full-heartedly, and you do too, probably, Mik, that you cannot be body positive and then also promote a diet.
Exactly. Point blank. There's no sugarcoating that.
I love that you agree with that. It's just so cool. I feel like it's surreal to hear, a fitness coach, be on that same page. So,
well, because criticism fuels diet. And I mean, I hear you, Mik, you saying like you're really taking into account the whole person. And I mean, nobody can thrive off of criticism, right?
Yeah. Mik, I'm curious. I know you're really open about your eating disorders, and just reading about you, you've not had one, but multiple. Can you tell us a little bit more about that struggle and which ones you struggled with and what that looked like for you?
Yeah. So oh man, I always smile when people ask me this because it's like I have lived multiple lives. That is no joke. Like I feel like I'm a new person right now. And when I look back, I'm looking back at a person who was me, but like was not emotionally and mentally myself. But so starting in high school, I'm sure we were all susceptible to, magazines, Victoria's Secret models. I wanted to start my first diet because I wanted to be wanted by boys. And so I went on my first diet, and quickly it kind of snowballed into what is called orthorexia. So basically it is clean eating, but being very, very focused on, clean eating. And you have anxiety if, your rules are broken. It's on the border of anorexia, which is why it is so normalized in our society today. There are so many people right now who are living with orthorexia who don't know that they have it. So when I was going through orthorexia, I was also dating a boy who turned out to be abusive, and I was in that relationship for 3 or 4 years. And that within the relationship, I discovered bulimia, and I was struggling with that for a couple of years for the last 2 years of our relationship. And it was then I decided to travel to India because it was in my safety plan. If any of you guys who are struggling with being in an abusive relationship, it's very, very important if you are thinking about leaving to have a safety plan in place. Yes. So I went to India, very random, but I did. And I discovered that I could, not, have bulimia. And I thought that binge eating was the cure to bulimia because I was not aware of any of my habits. I didn't even know really what an eating disorder was. And so I developed binge eating, and that was with me for a very long time. And I didn't know or was not aware of it until my depression really, hit me. And I was sitting in bed and I was looking at my bed with literally 4 days worth of Postmates, half-eaten Postmates. And it hit me that I needed to ask my parents, my sister for help. And that's exactly what I did.
Wow.
I just can't tell you just how much I'm appreciative of you speaking to all of that, but also the binge eating when there's so much shame. But we look at all of those behaviors, and you're just trying to deal with in the best way that you could with some really traumatic emotional experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I love how you described orthorexia, because I feel like that you hear a lot about anorexia and bulimia, and not so much about that. And orthorexia looks like, to some people, healthy eating.
Yes. And I will say, I'm sure we'll get into this more, but the leading cause to my recovery was to do a lot of emotional work from my PTSD from, years before. It took me going back to that really yucky place to discover that, the reasoning behind my eating habits.
Yeah, because it's not just about the food, about the food at all, actually, right?
It's not about food, it's a behavioral disorder. Like there's so much, false information out there. Today I just posted an Instagram post about how when I was orthorexic, I claimed that, it wasn't even claiming, I was vegan. And then at one point I was vegetarian, and I used those to almost comfort me into thinking that it was okay for me to be, having anxiety around foods. And that doesn't mean, vegans and vegetarians are disordered. No, that's not even the point of it. If eating disorders were a food disorder, then, we would be in a completely different conversation. But it's a behavioral disorder where we, just go absolutely crazy over food. Because it's the only thing that we can really control in order to make us feel okay.
Yeah, and then we have to acknowledge the physiological benefits from it too, as well as the genetic component, which I think, I mean, so many people disregard that, 50 to 80% of those that struggle with eating disorders or disordered eating, like from the start, they're wired that way for when a traumatic event happens, combined with some personality characteristics, like it creates a perfect storm. But, I love the fact that you're able to speak so candidly and debunk these myths about eating disorders, because I think it's so misunderstood.
Exactly. Yeah.
What has that process been like in terms of using social media as a platform for you to speak out, not only about eating disorders, about PTSD and about seeking therapy and all of that?
I would say my one takeaway from, being so vocal and speaking my truth on Instagram is that if I don't speak, who will? Because, every single one of us is dealing with something, and that's not something very, it's not foreign. We know that everyone's going through something, but it's not just because we know something, isn't going to change anything. And what does is conversation. We need to have conversations. We need to bring awareness. And everyone wants that Me Too moment. Everyone wants to know that they're not alone. And if we hide in shame, then we can't do that. No one can, grow as people and truly heal.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just like sharing your experience, like it seems like for yourself is so powerful and then so helpful. I know it's so helpful with so many people. That's why you have so many people following you. Can I ask, I mean, I'm assuming that you went to therapy.
Yes.
We go to therapy, even though we're therapists, we need that for ourselves as well. Can you share a little bit about your experience with therapy for maybe people who haven't done it before, or what it was like for you?
So therapy is something that I will shout to the rooftops. I can't live without therapy. Like it's not even I feel like it is demonized because society thinks that people who go to therapy have something wrong with them. And it's not something to be ashamed about. It's just in order to, keep your head afloat. Like you guys go to therapy, and we all need to stay sane somehow. And my experience with it was something called, oh my gosh, what is it called? It's used for PTSD. I'm blanking right now. Anyways,
EMDR?
Say that again.
EMDR?
Yes, EMDR.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll help you out with the other terms and stuff. They're unnecessary.
And that type of therapy helped me so much. I could not even believe it. I don't know how it works. I'm not a therapist, but it helped me unpack all of that shame and unpack all of the, traumatic events that I had forgotten that my brain was trying to protect me from. It unpacked all of that, but in a safe space so that I could really, truly work through everything that happened. And now I am very okay with talking about it. And back then, when I hadn't gone back to that place, I don't even know what would have happened if, someone were to ask me, what had happened to me. I would have gone right back to that place and gone so depressed, and I would have had anxiety. And I did experience that. Like when I would hear a motorcycle, for instance, I would flinch because that would relate back to my ex and things like that. But EMDR was the best decision that I have ever made in my entire life.
Yeah. So whether it's EMDR or therapy, I can, speak to a little bit about the process that, maybe it seems like magic, but it's not.
It does. From me doing it, I was like, how is this going to work?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I would love to hear your perspective.
Yeah. So when we, go through life being human and encounter things that are so overwhelming for us, our brain has kind of ways of operating out of survival. And so it shuts down to either protect, or sometimes in trauma where you're repeatedly in that overwhelmed state, you just become on like hyperdrive. And so the goal of therapy, whether it's using EMDR, which can really allow you to either connect with the emotions or be able to regulate those emotions in a safe place where then you can see clearly and like reformulate those beliefs, like especially in abusive relationships where you can really start to see like, oh no, that's not my fault, right? But it's so hard when we're either completely disconnected and not aware or emotionally just kind of flooded to be able to access that rational, that logical part in our brain. So therapy, whether it's EMDR, but the relationship itself and helping you be safe and look at things, and then also tap into this ability to develop a new perspective. Am I capturing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that just for you, it sounds like it was transformational. It seems like it's not optional. And with an eating disorder, like going through all of that, how could you not have depression and anxiety, along with that? So to have a place to unpack it and see what the behaviors are, see what the thoughts are, see what the feelings are, and be able to navigate it and like get on the right path. Have some
I
coping
love that you
skills
said
and tools.
navigate.
Yes. Yeah, because we're all thrown, just I feel like fireballs at us, throughout. It's adulting. It's Julian says it's an extreme sport. It's hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can all use that. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing about your experience with that.
So can I ask a follow-up question? So you've done EMDR, and that can really work in kind of targeting specific sort of beliefs about yourself. Are you still going to a therapist now and working through I guess, any just growth that you are wanting?
Yeah, I see a dietitian and a therapist and a psychiatrist. Those are my team of people. And that is so important to me that I continue seeing them, because it's not because I'm scared. It's because I know that in order to maintain my mental health, it's just like exercising. To me, it's my
Yes.
self-care. I see these professionals in order to keep my brain afloat and to be happy, because without it, I wouldn't.
Absolutely.
I love that too, because I think one of the stigmas that maybe you speak to there with Mik is that you have to be at your worst in order to go to therapy. You have
Which
to be at rock bottom.
Yeah, you're obviously in recovery, and like kind of on this growth path, and you're still seeing a therapist. And same for us, like we're stabilized and maintaining, but yeah, we have a place to still unpack stuff and feel safe whenever stuff comes up for us and is triggering and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's cool to have someone there who is objective about things, and that can help you navigate, like you said, through certain situations or feelings, because that's so important to have like a game plan. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like that is so true. For you, being in the fitness industry, do you feel like that you are like totally in recovery, or does it kind of like flow up and down for you? What does that look like, like the recovery process for you? Julianne knows more about eating disorders, works more with eating disorders than I do. So I would love to hear what that's like for your recovery.
Yeah, so my recovery has been pretty smooth sailing, and I know that others can't say the same, and I'm so grateful of my situation, but I truly believe that having my team, my psychiatrist, my therapist, and dietitian is something that has kept it that way. But, it was a struggle at first. It was, that the shame, unpacking the shame and having anxiety around that. And I truly, in my own experience, going for it head first and just accepting all of the shit that came with it and the yucky emotions, the, physical, the physical changes that I had to make in order to recover. I just had to accept it because I knew that I needed to be better. And it's been almost a year in April, actually. That's my recovery day.
Wow. Congratulations.
That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like a choice each and every day. And it sounds like you realize what wasn't working, and for you to trust, which I mean, I think is so hard for women or men struggling with eating disorders to like learn to trust their body. That is, I mean, it takes a lot of bravery to do that.
Yeah, and also speaking to having your team to hold you accountable and to like be there for you. I think that that's so brave, because I think sometimes with mental health it can feel weak to go to a therapist or to like need additional support, but I feel like it's more brave to say I need that support than it is to not, right?
Yeah, and something that I have noticed being in the fitness industry and being a health coach, a lot of, health coaches have eating disorders, and I feel like there is a lot of shame. I mean, I'm watching it. I've watched my friends go through it. There is a lot of shame in being a coach and not knowing how to coach yourself through this. And I love that you guys, go to therapy. I shout to the rooftops that I go to therapy, but it really isn't something to be ashamed about.
Absolutely. I'm curious for you, Mik, what does fitness coaching look like with you versus maybe another fitness coach not aware of body positivity, body shame, eating disorders? Can you share a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, so I go into I am unlike any other coach. I can say that because I know that I am very invested in my clients' health, because if I'll start from ground zero. I go through a complete, get to know this person process. So I go through, if they're seeing a therapist, if they're seeing another personal trainer, and other things like that. And I really get to know them as a person. And then I go into, okay, what now? What's next? So I really look at their behaviors rather than just giving them, a plan, like work out 6 days a week, or, eat this set of calories or whatnot. That's not it, the way it should be, because, you don't know what this person's going through. You don't know their livelihood. They could be working 2 jobs, and they could only be able to fit in 2 days of working out for 10 minutes. And from a coach's perspective, I never want to force a certain workout schedule on someone, because moving for 10 minutes is better than nothing. Moving your body, walking, running, being outside for 10 minutes could even, brighten your mood. So I really look at their mindset rather than just telling them guidelines, if that makes sense. And I do have a team of therapists and dietitians who look over everything, because I understand that in my line of work, especially because I'm so open about everything that I go through, I know that my demographic may have eating disorders, may have mental health, issues, may have mental illness. And I'm not qualified to do that. Like, I am not qualified to do that whatsoever. And I want to make sure that my work is overlooked, so that if a problem does come into play, then we do have a backup plan, and I can let them go and really, make sure that their whole health is in mind.
Well, yeah, we so respect that, view and perspective of being able to use your experiences and know that you are of immense help already by talking out loud and approaching it in a way of where you're really caring for the person, and you're not motivating with shame, but being able to empower them. And then also knowing the limits of, okay, yeah, sometimes, when they're dealing with co-occurring mental health concerns, there needs to be that work outside of, what you can offer. But I think your voice absolutely, and your own experiences, such a gift, and we are so thankful that you're in the social media world sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
What is it like being a social media influencer? And you do such a great job in sharing like body positivity images. How is that for you?
It's scary.
I can imagine.
I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's scary because it's making the decision to feel like you're naked online. I mean, I'm not naked online, but like emotionally I am, you know, like I'm like, here I am, you know, this is what happened. This is what's happening. Here's my belly fat. Here's my arm fat. Here's my cellulite. Here's my rolls. But I do it because my soul knows that it's right. And it sets my soul on fire to be able to be the voice for women who don't have a voice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like it's more like, here's my normal belly, here's my normal arms, you know, like here's me, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And yeah, to also know that you are more than your body, right? And that like you have a purpose, which it sounds like, you know, you are making sense of all the incredibly painful experiences you've been because you feel purposeful in what you're able to give to others.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that I tell my clients and my followers all the time. You're more than your body. And another thing that I also tell them is if any account that makes you feel like you are just your body, you know, unfollow them, mute them, whatever you have to do. It has nothing against them. You're just trying to be okay within yourself and really grow internally so you can live healthily.
Preach that, girl. Yeah, unfollow anyone who triggers you, and add those accounts that make you like feel good and appreciate.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean anything about you being weak or not having a strong enough sense of self. It just speaks to a very human element of us like being wired to compare and then like wanting approval, and like social media just, you know, twist that in a way that makes it hard. But can I ask you what it's like in terms of, you know, navigating that approval seeking, which we all want on Instagram? And for example, I guess, like, how do you deal with any sort of haters, or do you have people that make unkind comments?
I deal with that every single day. I probably get 10 hateful comments a day. And sometimes if I talk about something radical or something very polarizing, people, you know, are very judgmental. And I know in my heart that I'm doing the right thing, and their judgment doesn't come from what I'm doing wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just bringing awareness. It's coming from they're essentially judging themselves.
Yes.
Oh, we were just talking with our previous guest, which you'll have to listen to her episode on forgiveness. And she's also a psychologist and created this body image program. Anyways, she was talking about, how it's so easy for us to personalize things, but knowing that projection and really knowing that it's about, you know, somebody else's insecurities is what's so necessary.
Yeah, it's like a mirror, and you're holding it up and they're seeing themselves ultimately.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because I have lived both sides. Like in my recovery, you know, I was that Instagram girl that I would unfollow right now. And I was looking at people like me now and, you know, basically projecting judgment onto them because I just didn't understand. I was judging myself and what I was going through. And in order to be open-minded about everything and to know that like every body is beautiful and, you know, we should be all accepting, I had to go through a lot of emotional work.
Yes. How for you, do you think people get the concept, or how did you get the concept that you are not your body?
That's a difficult question because it's every question that you've asked me. It's not just one answer. It's not simple.
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, you have to choose what makes you happy. Even whether that's a difficult decision, whether it's an easy decision, you have to have your happiness in mind because you're just not your body. You know, like, do you want to be, I always ask my clients is, do you want to be running around with your kids when you have them? Because at the rate that you're going right now, you're not going to be able to eat Cheetos with them. You're not going to be able to eat waffles with them and truly enjoy that moment. if you keep doing this. And that's the point at the end of the day. We just want to be happy.
Yeah. It sounds to me kind of some values-based work of like really being able to figure out, okay, what is more important than me, or to me, than perhaps other people's approval. Okay, having those relationships that are supportive, having that, approval of myself, and really finding things that are of more importance. Not to say that, like, eating disorders, body image, it's never about vanity, right? It's always on a deeper level about that approval, that acceptance, and that belonging. But being able to kind of look at what is more important to you and what will hold, I hate to use this word, but hold weight at the end of your life, right?
Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you share that this is a process, and there's not like a how-to, just like there's not a how-to with, okay, this is exactly what you eat and this is exactly how you work out.
Listen to this podcast and you'll be cured forever. Yeah, it's a practice. I think I say that in every episode that we do, that it's a practice. Everything's a practice. I want to chat a little bit more, but we're going to give a little bit of time for our last sponsor, which is Therapy Space. So they are mental health offices for mental health professionals. And they are amazing. They make it so easy to get into private practice. So whether you want to start off 1 day a week, or you're an experienced practitioner and just don't want the responsibility of all it takes to be in private practice, up to 7 days a week. So they take the responsibility out of it. So they have your waiting room, printers and paper and Wi-Fi.
Water, Kleenex, all the stuff.
Yeah, all the amenities for your clients, so that you can just focus on your clients. And so we love them. It's super hip and super adorable.
Safe place too, in terms of locations.
Yeah, they offer locations in Dallas as well as Nashville. And they are offering, if you mention our podcast, 1 month free on your first month's rent. So it's really amazing. And we are so proud of them and excited to be partnered with them.
Yes. Thank you again, Therapy Space.
Yes, thank you. Mik, so I want to ask you this. In transitioning, I feel like we could talk to you forever. This is so great.
Yes, we've been having to do like the highlights of everything.
Yeah, I know. But what would you, if you could tell your younger self something that was transformational for you, understanding, what would that be?
To surround myself with people who want me to be happy. And just not to cast judgment on yourself, because at the end of the day, we have truly been taught to diet, to exercise, excessively. And in order to really just look past all of that, we have to look at what makes us happy and who makes us happy, and to surround ourselves with good energy.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. Healing power of connection.
Yeah.
Yes. It's transformational. So we are so thankful for you. And where can our listeners connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on all social medias at Mik Zazon, and I also have a company, Health Undefined, and you can go to their Instagram for more info. But yeah, pretty much Mik Zazon.
And you do retreats. You're a fitness coach. Like, you have so much to offer. Can you tell us a little about your retreats and Health Undefined?
Yeah, so my retreats, it's called the Rose Retreats, and they are held every summer. We have 3 going on this summer, but it's for every woman out there who has struggled with body image, who has struggled with eating, who has struggled with their relationship with themselves, exercise, and food. And we all come together for a weekend and we just hang out and have a blast. We're going to Michigan, Washington, and Hocking Hills this summer. And it's been an incredible journey being able to see so many women transform over these weekends. And with Health Undefined, it is an online platform that has professionals that helps women who struggle with food with their relationship with their bodies and with exercise. People like you, we have therapists, we have dietitians, we have health coaches, personal trainers who give you that hands-on help in order to heal, which has been also the most incredible thing to witness all of the society, Health Undefined Society members just transform and be able to be happy with their community.
I can only imagine, like, you totally destigmatize, this world and connect people. I feel like you're this social media, social worker influencer. So we really appreciate you. And
so keep on doing you, girl.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for spending your time with us today and helping others. So we'll chat soon.
Yes.
Sounds good. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everyday Therapy Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes and share with your friends. It really helps us reach more people.
We might only record once a week, but we're with you every day.